Alright, guys, we are here with a battle of the oldies. That's right, Dong Ray Gu, one of the best players from the very early days of Wings of Liberty, a famous rivalry with Slayers MMA from back in the day, a GSL champion, multiple time, just absolute beast of the world, who in recent years has had a return to form as one of the oldest pro gamers in Korea. He's like 35 years old, I think, and he's destroying. And he's going to be going up against Neeb, who, whilst being a lot younger than DRG, has also had a recent return to top level form. Neeb really just started smashing in 2016, and then 2017 was the year where he dominated the WCS circuit, winning 3 out of 4 annual WCS events. And really just, he won like 200 grand that year, I think it was, like maybe more than that. Really crushed the year before Serral came out, even beating Serral in the grand finals at in Yenchiping, which was, of course, when Serral first kind of managed to make it to a big grand finals. And the following year, we saw Serral dominate. And since then, some people would say Neeb has kind of, been out of the spotlight a bit. But my God, here at Valencia, did he show up? This is, of course, the round of 16 from DreamHack Masters Valencia. And it is a best of 5 match. Now, DRG has not scouted. This is Cosmic Sapphire to start things off, a very big macro map. And we see a very standard, just kind of like, okay, I'm going to scout as Neeb, but he didn't send the probe early, so he didn't block the hatchery. He goes Nexus, Cybercore, second gas, second part. This is like just super stock standard opening for both sides. Like nothing really weird. The probe is trying to do a bit of harassment. DRG's counter microing to minimize the effectiveness of that. All things considered, feels pretty darn straightforward so far. But the question for me is like, how one-sided are these games? And what I mean by that is DRG likes to just be greedy early on, cut some corners, and then flood you in the mid game with like Massling, Roach, overwhelm you, or get a Spire, and then bam, there's 15 mutas flying across the map, and you just die. Like he's kind of this old school Zerg. Su plays kind of similar in that it's like, if you let them get a smooth opening, they can just cut corners a bit more than other players, be a little bit greedier, and then they will just run away with the game. On the other hand, Neeb is this older style Protoss, very different to someone like Hero, who's like chaotic aggression, constantly in your face. Neeb is like, I'm going to sit in my corner of the map, and I'm also going to be very greedy and like out macro you. And the thing is, that's why I'm wondering how much interaction there's actually going to be between these players in their openings, or are they both just going to rush third bases and have almost like an economic arms race and see who gets further ahead and who can actually scout and get the read on the other player? Because this could end up being a very cerebral match of like, who's going to build the correct unit counters, who's going to counter the other player's strategy in a more intelligent manner. I think it might be a bit of that sort of style. Chrono Boost on the Oracle so far. Adepts have not pressured at all. Will he go out with the double Adept pressure? Okay, looks like he will. Neeb is famous for back in the day, straight up like winning games with his Adept harass. He kind of started a lot of the Glaive Adept meta back in 2016. This is very different, of course, to the Zest Glaive Adept meta. But it was like the maps were much smaller back then, and you would just shade Adepts across the map. You wouldn't even have a Warp Prism, and you'd be like, lol. Here's 6 Adepts at your base, like faster than you could ever imagine, like right on the 4-minute 10 mark and stuff like that. Disgustingly early timings. Adept is going to run out along with the Oracle. Oracle being used defensively. Gets a couple of those lings. Just a bit of energy. Not too bad. Second Oracle's on the way. Third Gas Geyser comes down very quickly. On the other hand, not back on gas just yet. DRG wants to play what appears to be a fast melee build, guys. He's got 4 queens out. He's going to 7 queens. He's only now building spores, so he's played very light on spores, and actually he's very slow to drone his third. You can tell he's worried about the oracles arriving, so he's trying to stack his workers up. He doesn't want to get them caught in the no man's land, sending out to that third base. This is a very vulnerable area, so I think no spore in the main, no spore in the third. He's being kind of greedy in that regard. Drones will get caught on the transfer. Oracles are going to just zap that one and head towards the main. Another one caught on the transfer, but good micro by DRG. Pulls away, but the Oracles faint away for a moment. They do go back in. A total of 3 workers. Both Oracles taking a bit of damage, but 3 worker kills not too bad, especially with DRG already delaying the saturation of that base. His melee is on the way. The Oracles haven't seen that Evo yet, so Neeb does not know what he's up against. He's going for a quick +1, and that tells me, are we going to see Charge or Blink? What are we seeing? Okay, it is going to be a Blink Stalker style. I actually think Charge Lot styles are amazing if your opponent's going for this fast, upgraded Zergling style. 6 more workers, that's pretty huge, man. DRG with a bit of a mess up there, and look at his Overlords. He's got good vision on the map. but missing an Overlord here and one in the back, so he doesn't have quite as much vision of where those Oracles were coming from. But he's building a Spore now on the third base. Still no Spore in the main and no Lair, and it's going to be like 5 minutes 30 soon. He does have a Roach Warren for safety, but interesting to see this approach for DRG. I was about to say you need a very quick fourth base if you really want to have the explosive economy. He does have amazing creep spread, so we've got to give him that. Queens are here. And the Oracle's dancing around in between the bases. Okay, so we've got an Observer out. Blinkers on the way. Lots of gateways. This looks pretty straightforward for Neeb. Nothing special, nothing fancy. Get a third up off Oracle, Adept. Go up into Blink Stalker and 8 gateways. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. So far, DRG hasn't really committed to any army. And he's just maintaining a work account. So unlike what we've seen a little bit from Dark recently with some really pristine early games and getting some big economic leads, same thing with like a laser, you'd often see at about 80 drones at this point in the game. We are seeing DRG at like, you know, it's like, okay, now I'm getting a very slight worker lead, but he's not really running away in that regard. On the other hand, it's just Stalkers, and that's being scouted. So both sides are kind of building up, as I said, economic arms race very well, maybe what we're into. 9 drone kills, but you've invested a bit more in the harassment with the Oracles. And look at that, a second Evo Chamber and Roach Speed. It looks like a very standard Ravager Baneling game is what DRG's plan is. +2 melee already on the way. Stalker's Oracle starting to come forward on this south side. He's going to try and push back the creep spread. If you try to jump on that with Zerglings, the Oracles will laser your bloody face off. So you got to be careful here as DRG. Neeb with a bit of a messy control. Where are those Stalkers? He's pushing forward into those units. He's got to pull back and deal with these Zerglings. The Oracles will turn on their laser beams, and a couple of Stalkers already going down though. The Stalkers pushing forward into the Roaches and Queens. Neeb, I think he's getting way too aggressive here, but he does drain a lot of the transfuse energy. Maybe he's just confident that if he commits to this, he can overwhelm. DRG does not have that huge an army. So yeah, definitely with the Blink Micro, you might be able to make this work. The Spore Crawler keeping the Oracles back for now. Their energy is so low, they can't really help out. Nice Blink Stalker Micro, but he's got to pull back. Neeb has to pull back. He's overstaying his welcome right now because he's about to run out of Blink Back Micro. There we go. Great pullback timing from Neeb. Now look at the units lost tab, guys. He's just killed a ton of Zerglings. He's only lost 3 Stalkers and a Sentry so far, and he's happy to keep trading like this. The only problem for Neeb is that this is feeling like there's no fourth behind this, so it feels a bit like an almost all-in attack. On the other hand, it's equal workers on both sides, so this fight will really decide who wins this game. The Stalkers blink forward and snag a Ravager. Great micro by Neeb. He's just trying to put his foot onto the neck of the Zerg. He does not want to give DRG space to macro up. DRG is thinking of going across with a Ling run by. He's going to hit this base. Now, the Zealots will find that, but oh no, they're on move command. Uh-oh, Neeb does turn to fight, but the Zerglings get a good surround and a good bit of initial damage, and he's going to have to warp in some more Zealots to defend that base. They will be able to warp in pretty quickly. Stalkers coming in on the front, still able to just keep taking efficient trades, and DRG is not really going to get anything done with the Zerglings, even though his +2 melee is done. You can see that the Stalkers and the Oracles hanging out in the front are causing him troubles. Stalkers grab a Queen kill, but he does actually... I don't even know if he got the Queen. I think there was 2 transfuses and he lost 2 Stalkers there. Great micro by the Dong. The Dongray Goo. Raise your dongers for the Dongray Goo, guys, because he is still looking absolutely lit. He surrounds that very efficiently. He's got mass transfuses giving him great efficiency on the front. It feels like DRG really is surviving very well. The Stalkers are taking damage. They're eating corrosive biles. Neeb wants to force the issue. He's feeling very committed. +2 attackers on the way for Neeb, but it's nowhere near ready just yet. That being said, the Roach Ravager Queen doesn't have any upgrades just yet. Double upgrades are on the way. 1-1. Gold base being taken behind this. Neeb's game plan is clear. If he can get that gold base up, you can see his main. He's already transferring workers from it. His natural in about 2 minutes is going to lose 4 of those mineral patches. That could be a good way of playing this. The Stalker's trying to shove in the front. There's Lings once again looking for the backstab. There's nothing there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Neeb. He's got to warp into these choke points right now. Stalker's trying to do the disengage, but he's getting jumped in on the front. He tries to do a quick recall. Uh-oh. Oracles are back, but dude, he's already taken so much damage. Stalker's getting caught out on the front. Neeb needed to disengage a lot quicker there, and that backstab catches him out in a big way. 12 workers going down. That may be the killing blow here. They were locked on equal workers for so long. On the other hand, Neeb does have a gold base up, but he might have to swap into a more defensive stance. Remember, with +2 melee and now 1-1 upgrades finishing, it's going to be a big upgrade advantage for DRG. Zealots are going to be very good versus the Zerglings. Stalkers do not have a very good angle here, and remember, they're very wounded. So you got to say, oh, cool, he hasn't lost any Stalkers. What good micro. You've also got to remember that those Stalkers are very fragile for any pitched battle in the future. Bailey Nest now coming down for DRG. He's trying to take a 5th base on the north side. The Stalkers running forward again. We've also got that Warp Prism on the top. If he can get Zealots in the main, he can start working these different angles, work this triangle, and harass all 3 bases. Very hard for DRG to defend. Man, a lot of gas in the bank right now as well for Neeb. He definitely should go Templar Archives, and he's actually got that. So he could warp in Archons, a lot of them, whenever he wants to add that to his army. That'll smash against Banelings and Zerglings. Queen's coming in the main. Not the best damage unit, but you can see just how tanky they are. Looks like the Zealots on the top failed to get that hatchery snipe. Zealot in the main does get 3 kills. Not bad. Good micro here by Neeb. He's just going to kill like 4 drones and then rally down to the natural, see if he can get some more done there. Stalkers blinking on forward, or running forward, blinking back, I should say. Oh, DRG eats his own biles. He does get on top of 1 or 2 of those weak Stalkers, but he's got to be careful. The Archons have now warped in. The Prism's still in his main base. Oh, no! Zergling backstab, though. Dongray Goo landing a huge Zergling run by Zealots are in the main. Sporecrawler and Queens are going to take out the Warp Prism. Oracles and a few Zealots will defend these Zerglings for now. Not before 10 probes go down. Can Neeb punish DRG on the front, though? 2 of the Archons, or 1 of the Archons has fallen. Another Archon will go down, but all the Zerglings are gone. There's not that much Roach Ravager left. All the Archons have fallen. It's just a pack of Stalkers on creep. But there's only a handful of Ravagers left. It feels like this is a much bigger army and a fantastic angle for Neeb. DRG needs to pull these Ravagers back. He can't afford to lose these. The Ravagers are starting to fall. The Oracle's coming in. That's a big old F2 if I've ever seen one. Zergling's getting more damage, but the Zealots will clean it up. DRG needs to hold this position. This is going to decide the game. If he can hang on here, he will win the game. But Neeb is relentless, shoving forward, dodging the biles. The drones are pulled into the fight. If these Oracles had energy, they would win the game right now, but he doesn't have energy. That being said, Zealot reinforcements coming in. It is down to the wire, but look at the supply. It's getting way ahead for Neeb. Baneling speed, Carapace, all these things kicking in for DRG, but you can tell he's been missing so many injects his last few minutes. His Queens weren't able to do that. They were defending the Zealot drop, and as a result, he's trying to dump minerals into Queen production, anything to spend his money. He might have great upgrades, but it feels like Neeb here was just able to pick away at him with the Oracle Stalker, get the efficiency in the fights. He's still got the gold base mining. He's still got that base mining. His natural still mining, maybe not with large amounts of resources, but they are mining small amounts, and that's all he really needs right now. Cannons on the third, still nothing in the wall. The classic hero style defense. Let the Zerg inside your base, and hopefully you can react quick enough with warp-ins. He F2s his Oracles home through the Queens and the Spores. A little bit of panic there from Neeb. It's learning from the best Protoss in the game. He says, apparently F2ing your units through Spores is a good move. I've seen Hero do it a lot. I'm not sure why he does it, but if he does it, you know, remember guys, it's not about the system and the logic behind it. It's about if that player is better than you, you should copy them blindly. Just kidding. Obviously, Neeb only does things because he wants to and because he actually understands the logic. He's always had his own style. I think it was Hero who was actually saying in his interviews at this tournament, actually, that he thinks Neeb is a very stylistic player. Was it him? Maybe it was DRG who said it. Basically, one of the Korean Zergs, I remember, was saying, like, Neeb's super stylistic and he looks like an absolute beast when he wins. But it does mean he crumbles a little bit when he loses. I think it was, actually, now that I think about it, it was Creator who was saying this. He was like, yeah. He's like, Neeb's kind of like me. He looks really, like, unique style, and he looks great when he wins, but when he loses, kind of just, like, falls apart and everything goes wrong suddenly. He's like, maybe he has a weak mentality like I do. I was like, you go, Creator with some fantastic self-awareness. Neeb does run forward here. The Stalkers, the Archons, the Zealots going to be doing what they can. Zealots in the top getting surrounded. I mean, DRG's hanging on like a champ, but oh, for how long, dude? There's a big army coming forward. The Ravagers are very fragile, remember? There's even stasis traps coming in. The Archons are going to start to fall here, but oh, Zealot's going to go into that natural and tear up that drone line. So look at this. He just jumps on his face. DRG does not have the numbers to hang on. He's just getting overwhelmed. And that is a beautiful victory for Neeb to kick off the series. Both of them rather passive in the early game. But the moment they got to 3 base, Neeb just did not leave the offense on DRG's 4th base. He just stayed in his face and did not give him any room to breathe. All right, guys, going into the next map, we've got Neeb actually came over with an earlier probe this time. Forced DRG to take that 3rd base on Tropical Sacrifice. Starting off with 2 of the very big macro maps, so neither player wanting to get cramped up, because obviously you've got one player's map pick, then the other player's map pick. I'm not sure who picked which one. I would imagine this is probably DRG's map pick. I'm assuming it's a little bit easier to pick a player apart on here. Maybe. I don't know, actually. I'm really not sure. I'm not too versed on what the consensus is on the new maps. We're still figuring things out as we go right now. Excuse me. We've got a gateway there. Cybercore does start up as well. Burping into my microphone is a sign of professionalism, guys. I get excited and very gassy when I cast such high-level StarCraft players. What can I say? Sorry, guys, about that user experience. Pylon's going to go up here. So it looks like a pretty straightforward opening. DRG will be pulling off gas in a moment here. So you're going to see, look, pulls off, and he leaves one guy mining. No, he's going to pull all three off. Okay. Stopping right at 100 gas. Just those little details looking fantastic. And we expect him to take a third base, probably about 30, maybe 32 supply. His Overlord does have a pillar up here, which he can provide safety on. And for now, he sees that the Cybercore is not spinning, which tells him, hey, you're saving that gas for a quick Stargate. There is, of course, the 3% of the time where the Protoss doesn't start Warp Gate and is actually going Twilight Council. And they're just only not starting Warp Gate. They're just delaying it 20 seconds just to pretend they're going Stargate. This is not that mind game. This is not that kind of, you know, playing with your opponent's expectations. Nice scout for Neeb, comes in, sees the third base, should be able to get out of there. This also makes it very hard for your opponent to speedling all in you. Having a probe active at this time makes it hard for them to sneak Zerglings out. And Neeb, in fact, is even going to sacrifice his probe in here. Very interesting. He sees only one worker on gas, so maybe a little worried about getting all in. And he was like, if I can check that there's no one mining gas, then I know he's not Baneling busting me or doing a crazy Ravager build or anything like that. So, nice little adjustments to be safe. Chrono boosting the Oracles. Probes are building 2 at a time here. The Adepts, oh, accidentally only shaded one of those at first. There we go, fixes that up. Now, are we going to see DRG once again delay the Spore Crawlers for so bloody long? I feel like he's going to have to build some earlier because he's been forced to take an expansion so far away. I do love that he's got 2 Tumors out very early. That is, of course, very tasty. And we've got 1 Oracle out. Do we go straight into the second Oracle? He hits 150 gas and... whoa! Instantly does start that. Oracle... does he realize the Overlord's on that pillar? He should be able to kill that if he has a Stalker, but he hasn't built a Stalker or a Phoenix or a Void Ray. Neeb playing very safe right now. You'll notice he keeps the Oracle at the third rather than prioritizing getting damage done on the other side of the map. So against this sort of player who's very conservative with their early Oracle usage, skipping the Spores is just beautiful. But he does now start them up. DRG with a great Ring of Vision. You can see his Overlord Vision's great. He's only missing one on the bottom. Obviously, you only have so many Overlords this early in the game. DRG takes the gas guys are there. No point turning the Oracle on to kill that. Tries to come back in. He wants to catch this getting cancelled. Neeb does. So he's like, can you cancel that so I can kill you, please? But doesn't find the damage. Ling's coming in. They will find a probe. Very nice micro by DRG. Just snags a probe. Doesn't even lose a single Zergling. Double Oracle looking for the damage. He's going to try and dive on the Queens, but finding 3 Queens. More than a match. Twilight and Forge on the way. Looks like an carbon copy of the previous game. Only difference, I think, is he only went 2 Oracles in the previous game. This time he's going 3. And Evo Chamber. Once again for DRG. It's not that quick an Evo Chamber, though. This one's a little slower than the previous game. Feels like his worker count's great, though. 47 workers, 7 more coming out. DRG has not taken those 9 drone losses this time. He hasn't taken a single drone loss. He's got 3 Queens in the main as well. So Neeb's going to come in and he's just going to, like, leave. He's like, yep, okay, nope, 3 Queens. That's too many. DRG with his vision, his creep, his overlords, everything, giving him so much information. And he's got, oh, Stasis Trap on the third, as well as these Oracles running Distraction. And that's going to set off only on a single Zergling. These Oracles not able to find anything. Finally, there we go. Okay, he finally grabs 1, 2, 3, 4 kills there. The Oracle is going to go, oh no, Neeb there. Getting a little bit of a stiffy hero style. Does throw an Oracle away for no extra damage. I was thinking it was kind of decent until he threw that away. The hatchery in the bottom side does go down right on the 5-minute mark. That's a really quick 4th for DRG. And we've once again got Blinken +1. Dude, I feel like this is way too predictable what Neeb's doing. I know a lot of people are like, this is a really solid way to play PvZ. You just get 3 Oracles and 4 gases, and then you make Blink Stalkers. I think this is a transparent style that is very counterable. I do not think it's nearly as solid as people make it out to be. That being said, oh, second Evo already. Now, DRG does have a Roach Run. I kind of want to see him do the Mass Ling style, guys. The 50-50 build that Scarlet really was pioneering at this tournament. I'd love to see him mix that in to punish this. We've got double Forge this time. Okay, so it's double Forge versus double Evo. And you can already see this first push arriving. He wants to try and cancel the fourth or do some damage or something like that. These rocks are going to go down. And Neeb is like, oh, pick off a creep tumor. The Lings threatening this around. They'll force the Oracles to turn on their lasers. Oh, Neeb a little slow to react. I don't think he thought the Lings were going to jump on top of him. Happy to sacrifice a few Lings to get all those kills. A great trade here. 4 Stalkers and 2 Adepts for a handful of Zerglings. And if he can deny the 4th of Neeb, I mean, Neeb's very low on units. We've already got 1-1 upgrades on the way. So even though he's making Roach speed as DRG, you can tell that he's much more Zergling focused this time. He's got a massive economy. He's only on 5 gas geysers, or 4 gas geysers, in fact. He's got Roaches building now, which will, of course, be good against the Zealots. I feel like he's far enough ahead of the curve. He doesn't even need Roaches. I actually think that DRG could drop an Infestation, go straight to Hive here. And I don't think Neeb could do anything against... I think he'd have nothing for him. I think Ultra, go straight Ultras, get out an Infestor or 2 or a Viper or 2, depending on exactly how Neeb plays it. I mean, I honestly feel like numbers-wise, Neeb is forced to turtle for the next 2 or 3 minutes of this game. So I want to see what DRG does with it. It feels like he's massively ahead, and he should just be able to swarm over. But I've seen Neeb make amazing defensive comebacks. Now, he's keeping up Oracle production here, so he's going to try and use these Oracles to kind of stall out the advance. But if the Queens can get on the front line, they can beat the Oracles in a fight pretty handily. And 75 drones, he's got 7 more workers. An Infestation Pit does go down for DRG here. Not quite as quickly as I would have liked to see it. After the early momentum, with killing an Oracle, only losing 4 drones, surrounding the Stalkers and Adepts, like, all of this has given so much control for DRG. And I gotta say, guys, he has a massive creep schlong in the bottom of this map, just protruding out there, slowly growing. And he's also going to start to fill in the gaps on the top side as well. I wouldn't mind a tumor down here, though. You can see that he's kind of not as methodical with his creep as some other players. Having some creep down here would be fantastic. Stalker's starting to veer forward, looking to put on some pressure. But look at how many Zerglings there are, my lord! Oh my god. Oracles turn on their lasers. Maybe not the best idea. I think he's got to be really conservative with his Oracle energy. Does Neeb. He doesn't have that much energy. His Stalkers are going to try and come forward. Those Lings, if they ever get us around, these Stalkers will crumble, man. He doesn't have any energy on these Oracles. He sees the 4th is fully saturated. No gas geysers yet, though. Hive is on the way. So I think DRG does need to drop double gas on his 5th base. He needs to go up from 4 to at least 6, if not 7 or 8 gases, if he wants to be building, whether it be Broodlords, Ultras... Lots of Banelings coming in now. That's going to cost him a lot of gas. So you can see here, you can't really play Speedbane Roach plus double upgrades and Hive on just 4 gases. So a bit of inefficiency with his build order. On the other hand, Neeb is just making Stalkers and Oracles, guys. It can work, but he's really very reliant on the Oracles to help him out here. If his Oracles aren't able to turn on their lasers, he's going to be in trouble, and he's wasted a bit too much energy, I think, on Revelations. The Stalker's trying to hold the line, but he doesn't really have a way of dealing with the Zerglings. Banelings! Oh, no! Trying to do a spready, emergency spready there for Neeb. Gymnastics champion of the USA, the Bull, the Eagle, does do a fantastic spready and only loses 9 probes, but there's just so much coming in from every single side. He's going to try and recall some units. That Nexus is gone. +2 melee Zerglings tear it down. The Zealots do have 2-1, but the Zerglings also have 2-1, and you can see the Zerglings do just fine versus the Zealots. It's only really Archons that start to turn that kind of trade around, and lacking the Archons in these situations, I think, is a huge mistake for Neeb. He was thinking the Oracles would get the job done, but you can see just how ravaged the Stalkers get by the mass Ling, and we see a little bit of a momentum shift. Just DRG slapping down the aggression a little bit more, gets a bit of a lead, turns it into a gigantic lead, and makes that game 2 look easy. All right, we got a series on our hands. You know what? It's a really close game 1, but he dominated game 2, so DRG looking like he maybe has the momentum in this series. Of course, Neeb in the top right side. A little bit too Stalker focused. I think a couple of Archons joining in there with the defensive batteries. I mean, I'm telling you, guys, if I'm attacking with Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane into someone who's got Archons getting healed by super batteries and Oracles overhead lasering me, not feeling good about that. I think Neeb could probably have done it without the Archons, but he needed to conserve his Oracle energy a little bit more, and obviously just needed to defend that big old Baneling run by on the north side. Now, early probe is going to block the drone. He's going to go for the front third. Now, I always feel like usually the triangle third is actually just worse in almost every regard versus Protoss than taking the straight line third. And I think the reason players do this is because they don't think about what they're doing, and they just kind of do what everyone else is doing. I'm joking, guys. Obviously, I'm shit talking DRG here. I really do think though that like looking at this base, okay, there's an argument because on this map the rocks are here, right? So it's if he does like glaive adepts and they come around that side, it's like such a bad path to get to you. So I think on this map it might actually make a lot of sense. Neeb is being a real dickhead here, by the way. Look at this. He's bouncing him off these mineral patches. He's just saying deny, 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 deny. He's constantly denying these mineral patches. Oh, sexy moves by Neeb. A little slow on his cybercore there though. Oh man, his wall-off's a bit of an odd one. Is he just going to wall off like that? Maybe. Interesting. Okay, interesting wall off for Neeb. Neeb's usually super precise on things like wall offs. He's the kind of guy who, when a new map pool comes out, he just sits in there and grinds. And Neeb has recently talked about being really inspired with StarCraft recently and loving playing the game. I know Fear Dragon was talking about that a bit, obviously being Neeb's number one fanboy. That, you know, Neeb's always been a player who got to the top by just grinding longer hours than everybody else and putting in so much time and preparation and mastering all the details through just so much hard work and preparation and very Korean style of practice where it's just a vast amount of time. Whereas we do get the impression Serral, Raynor, and a lot of these other players are more like Rogue, especially as well in the Korean scene. Players who don't really put that many hours in. Whereas Neeb is a guy's like, no, I have to put those hours in. If I want to be at the very tippity top, I have to perfect every little detail through just arduous repetitions. And it's indeed what he's been doing recently. For those who don't know, going into this tournament, Neeb smashed the NA regionals. He looked unstoppable. And he was also like winning ESL weekly cups. He was winning like 3 games in a row against Serral on EU ladder, which I don't know if anyone's ever done that before. It's like, has Serral ever even lost 3 ladder games in a week of EU ladder? I don't even know, but Neeb was taking him out. Obviously a lot of adjustments in the new meta, so a bit more variance, but Neeb seems to be one of the players who adapted very well to the balance changes. Neeb created the big winners, players who were already, well, I guess not created, but Neeb definitely was already very good at ground styles. Now, this is a really oddball opening, guys. That's a very delayed Stargate, and it gets spotted by the Overlord. So, what the shit is this build? I mean, if I'm DRG, I'm like scratching my head right now. I'm like, what? Why have you gone 3-gate into Stargate? Is this a Phoenix build? Are you a 2-star Phoenix, son? Are you about to put down a second Stargate? I mean, he's going to obviously do some sort of adept pressure without actually having glaives, right? So he's going to warp in 3 adepts. He's going to do a little 5 adept pressure here at the 4-minute mark, which is very cute. The Stargate is not being used for anything just yet, though. The Lings are going to get a probe snipe. Man, this opening feels like it's about to be some genius shit we're going to learn from, or it's going to be absolutely terrible. And I'm tending towards terrible so far. I do not like this build for Neeb. DRG's just macroing up. He's building a lot of Zerglings right now. Maybe an over response, but no, 16 Zerglings seems about right, as long as he goes back to droning afterwards. He's building spores as well. Now, I don't think he needs spores and 7 queens in this scenario. I think DRG is playing a bit too safe. I think he's been a bit thrown off by all these extra gateways coming down. He's like, oh, what the fuck's happening, man? What is this build? Now, remember, that looks like a lot of adepts, but they do not have resonating glaives, so they lose to Zergling surround. They lose very hard to a Zergling surround. Queens can definitely push this back. The Queens can fight that, and they really should be getting damage on it as much as they possibly can. The Shade gets cancelled, but now the Adepts are in the base. The Queens should have got a lot more damage there. Good pull on the drones, though. Very good micro by DRG. His Lings can just follow the Shade. Drones will go back to mining. And these Adepts, I mean, they have to Shade. The Lings did not get on top. Bad micro by DRG. He should have had his Lings on top to get the surround. Now he's got to pull out. Bad fight for DRG. Good angling for Neeb, using the Oracle there in the corner. And he's getting a lot of lost mining time right now. The Adept Shade up into the main. The Oracle is going to still do some more damage here. Oh man, that Oracle is hammering so many Zerglings down. This is not that expensive a pressure. He's also got a Stasis Trap on the top right. That's going to go off on that mineral line. Gets a few of those drones there. DRG reacting at the last second, but he's taking way more damage than I thought he would here. He's got 8 queens. So many queens in this game, but he's lost a lot of workers. He's down 15 workers. There's now a 3rd base up. Robo, Forge, and Twilight are all coming down. This feels oddly chaotic, what Neeb's doing in this game, guys. It really does not feel like a standard Neeb game at all, but It definitely seems to have caught DRG off guard. No Twilight upgrades or anything like that just yet. These Lings are going to try to get on in here, but the Oracles are defending. There's a 4th Oracle on the way as well. DRG needs to drone up desperately to catch up on that economy, and it, to me, feels like he did not utilize that massive Queens as well as he needed to. I really think he needed to be just in the face of those Adepts killing them. I think he thought that there must have been a Glaives upgrade, but he should have known that there couldn't be, because you can't go 3-gate, then a Stargate, and build Oracles, and also get Glaives all at the same time and have them all ready at 4 minutes 35 minutes. But I think because Neeb's build is so unconventional, it's thrown DRG's game sense off. He's made a few little mistakes here, and now he's desperately trying to claw his way back in the economy, building a 4th, getting his melee upgrades, trying to defend this pack of Oracles that's roaming around, being a nasty pain in his ass. 4 gates there, so he's up to 8 gateways now is Neeb. +1 and Blink on the way. Great creep spread once again for DRG. DRG's creep spread is amazing all series long. He's still building Zerglings right now. So apparently, oh, but now he's going back to drones as the Stalkers run through the middle of the map. DRG is in big trouble right now. He's trying to defend this with pure +1 Zerglings. He could definitely do that, but his Queens need to be careful. Pull back, Queens. Uh-oh, he's going to lose one. Get out of there. Okay, does some damage on the Oracles. Does lose one of those Queens, but oh, this is not a good fight for DRG, man. Like, he gets a decent surround on the Stalkers, but the Queens need to be hitting the Oracles. You can't have the Queens hitting the Stalkers. You've got to get rid of the Oracles, because the Oracles are the very high damage unit. So the reason that that's not a good fight is basically you need to kill the Oracles as fast as possible, and the Protoss needs to kill the Zerglings, because those are the high damage units. You don't want to waste your damage hitting Queens or Stalkers, because they're very low damage units that are quite tanky. Nice blinking black from Neeb. Neeb equal on workers here, but he's out of Oracle energy, and he does lose an Oracle there. The Queen's starting to push him back. But is there any Zerglings left? 28 Zerglings out right now. They've got +1 melee against the +1 Blink Stalkers. Oh man, okay, starting to look kind of scary for Neeb, but as I say it, another wave of Stalkers arrives, and remember, he's getting a 4th +2 and charge up behind this. The obsession with the double Evo chamber here for DRG, it's locking him on a relatively low work account. I think definitely run-bys are the answer. Remember, they did great damage for him in that first map. I feel like rather than double Evo, rather than building more Queens, which seems like the least important unit for him to have right now, he's already got 7, right? 7 versus 3. It's not like the Oracle count's getting out of control. Great transfuses. Well denied there. But I would love to see him doing more Ling run-bys on the mineral lines. Oh, ooh, and trying to just get enough units to swamp over this. But this feels like the situation Protoss wants to be in, where they're just keeping you pinned in your corner, picking where and when the fight's happening. Look at that. Picks off a bunch of Zerglings and says, yeah, I'm going to lose no Stalkers at all, and I'm going to kill like 30 of your units. Finally, a Ling run-by gets in. That's what I'm talking about. That could do some real damage. But good micro on the probes for Neeb. He avoids losing too much. The Zealots will eventually clean this up. Meanwhile, the Stalkers on the right side still fighting and just forcing DRG into awkward trades. DRG is going to try and punish him. If DRG just had 10 or 20 more Lings here, he might be able to overwhelm. But you can see how the numbers advantage for Neeb, that early economic advantage, doing so darned well for him right now. And he is just starting to cascade over the top. The Stalkers are about to be reinforced, because remember, he warped in a lot of units at home and they are now arriving. The Stalkers taking a breather just to start regenerating those shields. The Queens are still using Transfuse very well, but the Zealot Oracle comes in. Oh, he's just going for broke. Neeb going for the massive overwhelm. He's going to crack that front line. The Stalkers blink forwards, and DRG there getting thrown through a hoop. Let's do a really quick breakdown of where DRG got confused in that game. Okay, so right here at the start, you've got 3 gates before tech, which is really different to what Protoss normally does. Normally, they're racing for their tech. Now, DRG's seen this, and the thing is, I feel like already he's a little behind on workers, but it's not the end of the world. And the thing is, he's so focused on Queen production when I think he should be spending his lava as quickly as possible. Where is the inject on this hatchery? Yes, you've got great creep, but where's the injects? Where's the injects on this hatchery as well? And you can see, I really do think he messed up his macro a little bit in that regard, and he's so focused on getting up to 7 or 8 Queens, and then suddenly these Adepts throw him off his game. Now, I think it's all acceptable and recoverable from here, but he's got to keep injecting, and you can see there are a few too many breaks on those injects. And that's because he is confused. He's like, I don't know if you're taking a third or not, your Stargate's late, but here come a bunch of Adepts. And at this point, his queens should have just moved forward and fought this. His queens beat the crap out of these adepts. He's got transfuses available. I say that. He may have, but actually he's just short on transfuse, except on this back queen. So that's why he was a little afraid there, because he's put a lot of energy into creep, and he actually doesn't have transfuse. So I understand why he pulled back there, but he really needed to get a bit more damage done, because this is where things open up for Neeb. He comes through, and the queens there, they start to fight properly. But there was a big mistake. Those lings should have been spam clicked in the corner so that when he shades, lings are behind and all around, getting a good surround. And then I think it would have been a decent fight for him, since the Oracle gets in pretty late. He was also a little slow to disengage there. It was DRG. So the Adepts just end up getting way more damage than they really should have been able to. And it just feels like at the end of this Adept pressure, you've just got DRG being behind. I think maybe DRG should have been splitting his queens up a little bit as well. There was too many times where he should have left some queens here, and it made it really hard. Unable to get counter damage. He's just way too far behind. 15 workers behind, 3 base versus 3 base. I mean, Neeb might not have very quick tech, but he just doesn't need it. He's so far ahead on the economic. From here, he was in a great position. Really nice, weird, off-timed Adept Oracle pressure. I wouldn't call it the most efficient pressure, but I would call it the most confusing pressure. And in a best of 5 series, sometimes that's the most effective. All right, guys, let's go. Game 4. One more game to close it out. Neeb goes into Data C. And is he skipping the scout? Oh, he is. Wait, did he go gas first? Oh my god, I think he went gas even before gateway. If you're going to skip the scout, this is a nice way of utilizing, because you've got extra probes so early, it allows you to get a bit more gas out. It means you can start your tech earlier, makes your opening really smooth. And I love mixing this in. You're like, it's a big map. DRG is not going to 12 pull me. Skip the scout, or maybe scout after Nexus Cybercore is a common way of doing it. So really cool play from Neeb. A very efficient opening. He's already got 16 on minerals, 3 on gas. You see just how smooth this opening is. And mixing this in once in a while, such a smart way to play. Nothing scarier than a Neeb that cuts some corners, gets a bit ahead. Back in his year of dominance in 2016, 2017, Neeb's most scary plays were where he was a little bit greedier than his opponent early on. And the thing is, unlike players who sometimes just go greed into greed into greed, Neeb would always be like greed into really sharp pressure that feels like it's unfair. And you're like, man, how does he hit that so hard? And you look back in the replay and you're like, oh. So he's always like, oh, I was a bit greedy. Now let's turn that into exerting that pressure onto my opponent immediately afterwards. So anything Neeb gets away with, he immediately converts into very, very firm pressure on his opponent. It's a cool way of playing StarCraft. I really love it. I think it's a great way of mixing it up. Now, he's not chronoing an Adept. Holy shit, guys. Not only does he have a Stargate down at, what is that, 2 minutes and 10 seconds? 2 minutes and 8 seconds Stargate. That's more than 10 seconds faster than a normal Stargate. And he's not even chronoing Adepts. He's just chronoing probes. He's going to chrono this as well, I think. Or is he going to save it for Oracle? He might save it for Oracle, I guess. Okay, he's saving it for the Oracles. But yeah, he's being super economic focused. He's going to have a huge economy. DRG, this is your test, dude. How good are you at doing an unmolested smooth macro game? Because you need to hit your macro just right in this scenario. Now, I love that he checked for proxies. He's like, yeah, there could be a proxy out there. Let's just double check. If DRG can deflect the Oracles and just play a really smooth macro game, he can be okay. But often what we see is the Protoss player, when they do this sort of style, get up like a super fast third, and then just like, they're at 60 probes at 5 minutes 30 or something like that, and the Zerg is like only at 50 drones, and you're like, whoa, how did this happen? How is the Protoss this far ahead? So it's a big difference playing against this compared to a guy who's chronoing Adepts into your face, Oracles into your face for the entire early game. I mean, this still ends up with a double Adept Oracle pressure, so it feels the same on the surface level, but the Protoss already is up 3 or 4 probes. Here we go. Oracle dives in. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god. 4, 5. Oh my god. 4 drones going down. Dude, only having 1 queen in the main. So you're going to see the big weakness of DRG that we've noticed. Sometimes it feels like he keeps all of his queens on 1 control group. He actually has these on 2 different control groups. But it really felt like they were all on 1 control group. That was a real rookie move, the way they were not in the right position at the right time. So does get punished there. Loses 4 workers. And Oracle's going to dive again. Queens, good focus fire. Oh, he's going to lose an Oracle, is Neeb, but he says, I'm happy to take that trade, mate. I'll get 7 kills there. That brings me up to 11 worker kills. I'll absolutely trade an Oracle out for that. The other one's still alive. I'll start a 3rd Oracle here, which will bring me back up to 2 oracles. And he's going 4 gateways. Look at that, guys. 4 gateways before Twilight. So I think he's worried about getting pushed by DRG, and he just wants to have a little bit more production available. You also can turn this into just a big unupgraded push where you go Stalkers, run forward, and try to cancel his 4th base, right? Because DRG, very important, if he's going to macro reverse this to get up a 4th hatchery, so he can really mass Zerglings with the extra production, and if he ever wins a fight, he can drone that 4th mineral in. And he wants to get that usually no later than about 5 minutes 30 is when that wants to start. So here we go, a couple of Adepts and Stalkers, another Oracle on the way, and still no Twilight, still no Forge. Oh, is he thinking about denying this base? That's interesting. Or maybe just attacking the 3rd base. Neeb with a really uncharacteristic pressure. He's just like, yep, random group of units, also Oracles. Let's go. Pick off some creep, kill an Overlord. And this is a really scary moment for DRG. He's only got 8 Zerglings and 6 Queens. The Overlord should definitely get focused, and he does that with that 1 Stalker. Here we go. Zerglings coming on in. And here we go. The Queen's trying to focus down the Oracles, but ooh, the Oracles and the Adepts and the Stalkers doing pretty good, man. Cancels the shade on the Adepts. I love this pressure from Neeb. Now behind this, where's that Forge Twilight? There we go. Finally, 5 minutes 40 on the Forge and the Twilight. You know, it's cute though. He says, hey man, if I've got Oracles to cover me from the Zerglings, I can just hang out here and really put on the pressure. He's going to get another Overlord kill. And some creep goes down as well. Oh, some sexy play. We're talking about him trying to get a cancel on the 5th with this. The Adepts are going to shade past. Zerglings are actually intercepting the rally. That's a very good move. Adepts are shading on in. He's going to get at least 1 or 2 drones. Good micro by Neeb. He does get 3 or 4 workers there. Oracles have to turn on their lasers. Remember, there's no blink on these Stalkers, man. I think it might be time to pull back. It looks like DRG defends the base, but he loses 3 workers. He's down to 50 workers versus the 60 of Neeb. And Neeb is realizing, hey, if I just use Oracles and unupgraded gateway units, I can do massive damage, but Lings are coming in. The Stalkers should be able to get back and defend. He needs to warp in Zealots, though. He's not going to get that wall up in time. And save your energy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The Oracles just wasted all their energy. Guys, this is what I was talking about remember in game 1 or game 2, I think it was. Neeb keeps wasting Oracle energy. He should only have turned a single Oracle on then. He turns on another Oracle now. He's trying to make a 4th base, but dude, he's about to get surrounded by mass Zergling, and he spent all of his Oracle energy. This is what I'm talking about. He panic turns on his lasers there. Stalkers are not good versus Zerglings at all, and this is going to be a pretty good trade for DRG and a necessary trade. As I say that though, actually, the positioning for Neeb, you know what? He mitigated that as well as he could have. And he actually survives all right. I thought he was going to take way more damage. He's now got the wall off. He's up on 4 bases. He's probing. He's got a 2nd Forge on the way. On the other hand, DRG did drone behind it, and he's got a 3rd mineral line, mostly saturated, main natural saturated, 4th base, mostly saturated. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. He's got a decent mineral income up. It's not amazing. And the Stalker Oracle pressure is not about to end, but I really want to see Neeb individually activating these Oracles. None of that noob turning on every Oracle at once stuff. And the Zergling's just going to jump on top. There we go. Turns on 1 Oracle. I mean, it was the only Oracle with energy, so we can't really pay him for that because he very well could have just pressed the button and it was the only Oracle that was able to turn on. But he's definitely keeping some pressure on. I mean, Neeb's way up in supply. If he can get charge... Yeah, he's got charge queued up. Chronoing his upgrades. He's trying to keep this pressure going. Now that he's got Blink, it's looking pretty decent. 7 Queens are out, Roaches and more Zerglings coming in. He's got to watch out for the flank. He doesn't have any Oracle energy here. Oof. Oh my lord. Okay, he's trying to blink back these Stalkers a few at a time. Turns on the Oracle lasers yet again. I feel like that was a bit of a waste of energy. These Oracles are so low on energy. And I actually think this might be a critical weakness of Neeb with this style is Oracle energy management. I know I'm harping on about it a lot, but to me it feels like it's the one little detail that he could definitely improve here and put DRG in an even harder position. DRG is still up against the ropes, but with a 5th base on the way, 75 drones, 2-1 upgrades finishing. Roach speed almost done as well. Opening up the rocks for easier flanking paths. Infestation pit goes down as well. Few more drones just transferring out of this main base. And the Zerglings coming for those rocks. Stalkers going to chase after them. Templar Archives is on the way. Archon's something that was missing back on game 2 where he got overwhelmed on Tropical Sacrifice. They could make a big difference versus the Ling Bane. But we haven't even seen Baneling speed yet. DRG's like just Roach Ling focus for now, and I think that makes sense. Banelings aren't really efficient unless they're hitting the center of a lot of units. Neeb's not going to let that happen. So Banelings are a very supply efficient unit that when you're maxed out, you really want to have the speed Banelings in there. But up to that point, it's just a waste of money. You'd rather have units that will be more efficient directly. Zergling Roach, just enough numbers to surround. They should get a very good fight there. Stalkers, Zealots, just diving on forwards here. The Oracle's getting some pretty good attacks. The Zealots struggling to get surface area, but the Stalkers actually did an okay job of tanking. The problem, though, here comes the Zergling flank. That might be huge for DRG. He's got his 2-1 upgrades versus the 1-1 of Neeb. Neeb is getting overwhelmed there, and Neeb does get pushed back, but Zealots on the south side as well. If he can find the drone line, that could be massive. The Queen, she'll buy a moment of time. Great micro by DRG. He's going to pull the Queen back a little bit, trying to buy just a moment, a breather. The Stalker's coming back in, trying to find the Queens on the top side. There's only 2 Oracles left in this game, so the one piece is normally, if you have 3 or 4 Oracles that come in at some moment here when the Queens are dead, it could be huge. Hatchery falls as well as 2 drones. Stalkers go way too deep there. They do get an Overlord, but are they going to be punished? The answer most certainly is going to be no, because the Oracles come in for the save one more time. 5th base for Neeb in the north side of the map. He's on 2-1 upgrades with +2 armor on the way. +1 range and Baneling speed is on the way, as well as the Hive now upgrading. Neeb, he very much wants to blink on those Queens, but he's got to keep it in his pants right now. Got to keep it in his pants. Uh-oh. Speaking of keeping it in his pants, DRG says heck no, and he unleashes it. He was anticipating a blink there, so he pulled back a little preemptively, but that is a huge surround, and that could be game-ending. Neeb losing so many Stalkers. The Archon's coming in. That's going to help save at least some of those Stalkers, but the Roaches, the natural predator of the Archon, going to do very well. More Zealots coming on in. We've still got the double forge going as well. Apologies, guys, still responding. I'm still recovering from COVID, so I'm going to need to take a moment here. Oh, that's a huge angle. Oh, he gets an Archon down. Oh, man, DRG's getting some really good fights. Neeb's got to pull out, man. Neeb keeps attacking, but he's just way down on army supply. His Zealot attack on the bottom just got blown up by Banelings. DRG is down 16 workers, but he's winning the fights. Neeb needs to put it back in his pants. He's trying to embrace his inner hero right now and just go ham. But look at that mass Ling Roach Baneling counterattack on all sides. He's on 11 gates. He's about to be on 15 gates, his Neeb. He's trying to channel his inner Raynor even, you could argue here. He's trying to come down and defend, but he doesn't really have enough on the bottom. On the top, he defends, but on the south, he is broken. Those probes trying to get out of there. Oh my god! +2 melee Zerglings just annihilate. He's going to try and counterattack on the north, but losing this base is huge. That economic advantage just disappears in an instant. Neeb here does not have any good splash damage to come back, by the way. All he's got is Archon, Zealot, Oracle, Stalker. And he is going to try and fight here, but there's just too much Zerg. The upgrades are too good as well, man. The 2-1 upgrades are fantastic. The Zealots kind of do all right there, but man, I feel like in a lot of these situations, we're just seeing DRG with barely enough. He's picking the right engagements. He's rebuilt this hatchery. He keeps respreading his creep all game long. Oracles have been revealing the creep and sniping it, and then it just kind of gets put down one more time. So a big problem for Neeb in this series is just his inability to push DRG off his fundamentals. DRG's like, replace it over and over again. And even though you've got that +3/+2 upgrade now, so your Zealots will still two-shot Zerglings until +3 Carapace kicks in, which is miles away. +2 hasn't even finished yet. But DRG's got a giant army advantage, and I look at this and I go, man, I don't know, it might be time to go Psystorm. You know, it might be time to go back towards more of a quote-unquote normal game. But he's trying to do it with just Stalkers, Archons, and Zealot run by his Plasma Shield upgrade will come in here. Just going to help those Archons a fair bit, but Oracle's going to take out a few of these units. This base will get taken down. Neeb with a good quick cancel. Stalker, Archon going to try and defend. The Archon's getting some amazing shots on the Zerglings. Yes, some Stalkers go down. At the same time, he chases them away there as well. But Neeb losing that base, even though it was a good overall trade in terms of cost, I worry for the next few steps in this game because +3 Carapace is on the way, +3 melee, Adrenal is finished, which means if Zerglings ever find themselves in a base, they will tear it down so quickly. If Zerglings ever get in the natural and into his production, that'll be massive. These rocks are going down. 9 more drones building for DRG, who now has the bottom right hatchery coming up. The Oracles are out of juice. Seems like the story of this entire game. The Archons and Stalkers coming to the south side. My god, he's just got to cancel it. Neeb keeps on having his initial 4th base denied. He's got what was his 5th base, but is now his 4th base in the top left, still up. My god, that's a lot of Zerg. It's mostly Zerglings. If he has enough Archons, he might be able to do this. Banelings find the soft spot in between his rally. Oh my god, the Banelings somehow managed to get in between the bases. But guess what? He does defend. Good probe pool, good micro. Only loses 5 workers. If Neeb, he's going to go for the top left right now. And that's a wise choice. And he's still building more oracles. We haven't seen Ultra Tech. I think Ultra Tech would be amazing. Fungal or Blinding Cloud would actually be huge. DRG does not really have gas though in the bank. I think he should definitely take some more gas, guys, as he's very gas starved. Banelings roll in there. Don't get too many probes. Once again, very good response by Neeb. Does have some of his cannons depowered though. Does need to repower those. He's going to try and go for a big attack. Neeb has a big Archon Stalker Ball. On creep though, Banelings, man. There's 30 Banelings, 11 more making. I don't think he can win with a big attack on creep. I think Neeb needs to get Storm or Disruptors, something that's going to invalidate DRG's mid-tier army. Neeb's trying to get it done in the mid game, and DRG loves this mid-tier army. His Zerglings find the new 5th base, and that's a kill, not even a cancel. They just die so quickly. Oracles find the bottom right, though. The drone's trying to run out of here. Good micro by DRG. Quick response. He's minimizing that. That could have been way worse. If all those drones went down, DRG's economy would have taken a much more crucial hit. DRG keeping the movement going. This is an almost pure Baneling army, though. You don't want to throw all that away. Getting some Banelings in the middle line could be a game winner, though. He's trying to move in. Oh, no, he pulls back now. He sees the army for Neeb is pushing into him. He changes paths, though. Oh, he's going to get a lot of probes. A lot of probes do go down. Meanwhile, the Stalkers and the Archons blink in forward. The Oracles turn on their laser beams. Banelings coming in from the backside, and the units are reasonably clumped up. They get some okay hits. Is it going to be enough, though? Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord. 72 more Zerglings are being built, but there's still like 8 Archons in there. And 8 Archons, I mean, they're very weak, though. If the Roaches can get rid of the Archons, the Zerglings will slate the Stalkers. The Oracles are out of energy right now. There's no real Warpins. It's just Stalkers coming across the map. More Ravagers making. He gets a base kill. Does need pull back and reset from here. He's trying to get the base in the top left. He's got his +2 Plasma Shields on the way. He could pull back. It's still similar economies in this game. Mass Stalker Archon up against Mass Roach Ravager. Huge ball of Queens. And so many Zerglings on the backside, but Archons will ruin those Zerglings, man. They will ruin them. The Zerglings say, fuck this noise. Let's go for the counterattack. If they can kill that Artosis pylon, that'll be huge. They could just click on the Nexus even. I mean, they're going to tear everything down so quickly. Adrenal Zerglings tearing it up right now. The army tries to come back with at least a few units to defend, but that's too many Zerglings. He's getting big damage. If he gets the Nexus in the top left as well, DRG is going to keep Neeb just locked on those bases. Neeb feels like he's got to go all in. Biles landing all over the Archons. The Queen Ravager is in trouble, though. DRG needs the Queen Ravager to get rid of the Archons so that his Zerglings can seal the deal. The Zerglings clear up the entire top left. The Oracles once again out of energy, unable to fire. If Oracles could just shoot permanently, they'd be the most broken unit in the game, but this is their limiting factor. The Stalker Archon finds another expansion down here. If he can move down and kill the next one as well, that will be massive. There is still 8 Archons in this army, creating a Zergling no-go zone. Stalker Archon coming across the map. They get caught. Uh-oh, big loss for Neeb. Neeb loses this base as well. Neeb has a single Zergling tearing up his economy there. He's going to kill the base in the bottom right. It looks like he gets the Zealots back, but his Archons did get surrounded. Very similar army supplies. Drones in the open. They will go down. Zerglings coming in over here. Oracles turning on their laser beams. The Zerglings mostly get pushed back. And the last drones in the bottom right go down as well. This is still neck and neck. It could go either way. Neeb is at 50 workers, DRG at 33. Neeb is also up about 10 army supplies, so he's got a significant lead right now. The thing is, should he pull back and build up, or should he go for the win? He says, let's go for the win, man. I'm bringing more Zealots. Oh, run, 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 run. He's got no energy to deal with this. Those Oracles do not have any way of dealing with this. He's going to try and push in on the front. The Archon Stalker shoves in a big surround of Zergling Ravager. The Archons clear up the Zerglings pretty quickly, but other than that, they die very quickly as well. The Queens on the top just will not go down. The Queens on the top with the mass transfuse just will not go down. Those Queens doing such a splendid job of tanking. The Stalker's trying to do a bit of a spready here. It looks like DRG, the Queens, finally doing the work in this fight. The Biles landing. The Oracles turn on their laser beams, but they will run out of energy momentarily. Neeb starts chasing him down. He's still got enough Stalkers here. He might still be able to break through. It's almost dead even on the army supply, but Neeb's army looking very wounded. The Roaches, the Ravagers looking a little healthier right now. Remember that Neeb, he lost every probe to those Banelings, guys. He lost every single one. They're all gone. He's down to 8 workers versus 31, and with hatcheries number 1 and 2 coming back up, DRG's going to be able to rebuild. Neeb is spending his gas bank on some Archons, and then he's got to go. Basically, he's going to morph 2 Archons, 2 Zealots, and that's it. The Oracles come in, they kill a couple of these workers, but that is not going to be enough. The Queens are still alive. Those Queens have been working so hard this whole time. Coming on forwards, it's one last desperate all in. He snags a Ravager. The Stalkers blink forward. They try to take out some more Ravagers. 2 of them deep in the red, barely surviving. The Oracles try to finish him off, but the Transfuses come in big. The Queen's going to push back those Oracles. The Ling Ravager, will it be enough? Oh my god, the Archons need to get forward. The Stalkers, though, they pick off a Queen and they pull back. Nice blink micro by Neeb. These are his last units. He must win with this army right here, right now. DRG is building lots of Lings and Roaches behind this. Neeb needs to win the game. DRG cautiously trying to find the right angle. He's going to go for a surround. The Archon, very exposed at the front. He gets one of the Archons. The other Archon doing massive damage, but it goes down as well, and DRG feeling good about that. The Oracles, though, do find his mineral line. Gets rid of some of those drones. There is still another mineral line in the top left that did not get touched there, though. I don't think Neeb knows about it right now. Indeed, he does not. So Neeb, he's going to pull back from that base. The Queen pushing him back. He sees these drones. DRG realizing, hey, they don't have energy. I think we're okay. If I could just get rid of these goddamn Stalkers. The Stalkers are slowly picking away at the Ravagers, but the Ling rally is still here. There's 10 more Zerglings coming out. They're flooding out. Neeb's last units unable to take DRG down. And at the end of the day, oh my god. DRG barely surviving the onslaught of Neeb in that game. What a sick series this is. We are going to game 5. All right, guys, it is game 5, and we're going into Moondance. DRG in the bottom right side gets his natural blocked. He's going to go out and take this base, and I like it. I was complaining about people always taking the triangle. I like this third base. You go, DRG. I could regret that later, but I think that's a pretty cool base. His opponent, Neeb, of course, top left, walling off at the front. The main feature of this map, guys, is you get a half gas, 3/4 mineral base in the back for free. Fantastically easy to take that. Now, Neeb might be the kind of guy who skips tech and just tries to take that super duper early. Wouldn't it be cool if a Protoss went Nexus, Gate, Nexus, Core before gas? Wouldn't that be sick on this map? Because the Zergs aren't really scouting or like paying attention to anything. They're just doing their own macro build. I wonder if Neeb will pull something cool out. I honestly, I've obviously cast this tournament live, but I didn't get to cast all the matches and there's a lot going on. So I actually can't remember what happened in this map at all. In terms of, even when I do, sometimes I recast a map that I cast live and there's shit that I forgot happened in it. Because obviously we cast so many games for like 3 days straight when we're over there. It is kind of like a fresh experience when I'm sitting here at home and able to pore over the details of the series a little bit, but I don't really know what PvZ looks like on this map still. A lot of options available. Looks like very standard openings for both sides. So we haven't seen any crazy, cheesy openings. Look at this. He'll pull off gas, and pull off gas. So from 88 gas, he starts pulling them off as they drop off those last 3 loads. Perfect opening details for DRG. And he should be sending, I think, a drone down to take that third in a moment. Does he send this drone? Yeah. So that drone there. So it's usually after a pair of Zerglings that you build, the next drone will build the hatchery. But I think this is actually a little bit late, this drone that he's sending down. So definitely something where he's going to be going for that on 32. He's got 300 minerals. There we go. Not bad, not bad. Stargate is on the way up in the main. Wait, sorry, that's not a Stargate. That's a gateway, guys. Whoa, okay. All right, we saw on Inside Out Neeb do some weird shit with 3-gate before tech. He's doing it again, but this time it's hidden. So it's going to create these weird adept timings once more, and he can go across the map, and this is a very short rush distance map. So he can get over into this third and then start shading from this mineral line up in towards the main and the natural. So that's what he's going to do. He does drop the Stargate after, so it's the same build from Inside Out. It's such a weird build order, man. 3-minute Stargate. For context, this is a 50-second later Stargate than he got with his gas first build on Data C. Adept is starting to shade forward, take a look around. He's going to see exactly what he can spot on this base. Lots of drones, not much else. Nothing too crazy just yet. I like that the Overlord's coming in the back. So DRG says, okay, you don't have a crazy fast third. What the hell build are you doing, mate? Lings are going to poke the front as well. He's like, doesn't look like you've taken a third base. What are you doing, dude? Stalker's going to come and try and deny this, but the Overlord will see the Oracle. Will he see the extra gateways? He sees some Adepts warping in at the front. 5 Adepts already out here, pre 4 minutes, guys. Spores are building, but he's actually building them way earlier than he needs to. So you can tell DRG here is like, oh, shit. Are there multiple Oracles about to come in? And now he sees the 5 Adepts and he's like, whoa, what is happening? He's only got 4 Zerglings, 12 more on the way, 16 Zerglings. Should be enough to surround and kill this. The Queens, this time they engage the Adepts very far forward. So that's a good change up from the previous one. He's got to be careful. Remember, missing injects was a big problem he had versus this build last time. So he's got to remember to keep queuing these injects up whenever he gets the chance. More Adepts coming across. That's 8 Adepts here, and third Nexus goes up for free behind it. First Oracle dives in on the top side, doesn't find anything. It's going to go for a stasis trap. Interesting. If it freezes the Queen, that's not too bad. Freezes the Queen and 3 drones. That is a bit of a disruption there. Adepts going in. They're going to try and focus down this Queen, and I think they should cancel the shade. They do. So they get a Queen. They're going to try and pull back now. Oh, he's going to recall. You know what? I think that's a good call. He only loses one of them. And he just says, let's play it safe, dude. I've forced a shit ton of Zerglings. I'm up on 45 workers versus 36. And once again, do we have injects going down? DRG needs to hold the drone key down. It feels like he's a little behind. I'd like to see him drop a 4th base very soon. If these Oracles find any damage, he could be in big trouble. Needs to get Queens on that natural. And now that the Oracles are in the back, they can choose. Do they attack the 3rd, the natural, or go all the way around to the main? This is so annoying. As DRG, if he could have stopped them crossing over into that area, it would have been much smoother for him. But the Oracles do leave that very crucial area they were in. Zerglings could probably surround those Adepts and go for that fight. They don't choose to, though. Lots of Stalkers and Adepts out here, and got Blink +1. Is Neeb thinking about a 4th already? What the hell? Oh, Neeb, you greedy shitbag. Neeb's saying, dude, the secret to beating DRG is to just get ahead in economy. Oh my god, his economy growth is insane. He's been delaying his tech a lot, and I really like this way of taking DRG down. Because as the Zerg, you're like, where's the next pressure? Where's the Stargate Oracle coming from? Where's the Blink attack coming from? And Neeb's just like, dude. The real problem for you is the fact that I am always ahead on workers. That's what you've got to worry about. I am going to swarm the shit over you. Even if it's just Blink Stalkers, even if it's these basic units. Doesn't matter. I'm going to do that, man. Now, he does see the 4th base going up in the back, but Neeb needs to get these Oracles out of there and bring them back to his side of the map. I'd also like to see him start a 3rd Oracle right now. I do think just a little bit more Oracle energy could be great. On the other hand, if DRG rallies to this 4th a bit too early, the Oracles could find damage. Still up in workers is Neeb, but that is about to change in the near future as the droning does turn around. Neeb doesn't really probe up his 4th non-stop, though. And you can see that Adept will go down. Nice move for DRG. Neeb can just cancel that now, leave a Stalker in the wall, puts a shield battery there to help out. And his second Forge is about to finish. First Forge almost finished +1. Carapace is on the way for DRG, so he's gone +1 melee, now going Carapace because that's going to help Queens, Roaches, Zerglings, all those units. So he's decided, hey, Carapace is where the money's at. I'm not so sure. I think upgrades for attack are usually better. Grabs 2 probes here, gets a little bit of damage done, but oh, okay. Neeb, I think, yeah, he could have maybe killed a few units there if DRG was a little more decisive. Neeb's only on 64 probes. He hasn't fully saturated that. He goes 1-2 upgrades and, or 2-1, sorry, and charge. +2 melee on the way now for DRG as well. DRG's still down in economy, but we saw that he could be down on economy at 1 or 2 points as long as he takes good fights. It doesn't matter too much. 16 Stalkers posturing forward. There's 4 gates up. 4 more gateways go down. Neeb working his way up to 8 gateways. Adding more and more of these gates as time moves on. It's going to be a very similar match to the previous ones. Both of these guys seem very confident in their styles. And I mean, it's a 2-2 series. I can't say either one looks just drastically weaker than the other. But I do wonder what happens. Like, what if Neeb just shifts it? What if he just drops Storm now? Because he's got 2 gases up. Is he just going to use that for Arc on Stalker? Or is he just going to... and then do a big push? Or will he, like, add Storm or something? He's even got a 7th gas in the back. It's a lot of gas income. I mean, DRG has shown a big weakness in this series, actually. If you think about it on a strategic level, remember I pointed out in Game 1, I think he could get an infestation pit and go hive and go ultras. And he's never done it, not once. Against a guy who's never building immortals, ultras counter every unit he has, including archons. You add a viper or two with blinding cloud and you will destroy this sort of Protoss style with ultralisks. But if you stay on Ling Bane, that style does expire. Stasis trap gets set off. There's another big stasis there that could go down. Oh, he gets a bit of surface area, but I don't think he can really get any damage done. Just kind of forces a warp in and does pull back most of those Zerglings. And the 5th base is on the way over here for DRG. He's on 80 workers now, so it's equal economy. Cleans up that observer, which is pretty nice. And he's still got those lings ready for the run by Neeb taking a 5th base. Neeb apparently is saying, you know what, mate? Splash damage is for pussies. As I say it, dude, cast your curse. I was like, Jesus. I'm like, nope, splash damage is for pussies, and he clicks it. Seriously? That's my ability, guys. I am great. I am powerful. I can reach backwards through time, taunt Neeb about not making splash damage, and he'll do it. That is the true power of the man casting the video game. I love to see it. Honestly, I think if he adds Storm here against the DRG, who is so reticent to go towards Hive Tech, he's so focused on Lair Tech. He's such a mid-game guy, and he always has been. I think this is a no-brainer. It's such a good way to play against it. Once the Storm gets out, that's going to be massive. He's got Stasis Trap, Storm, Cannon, Battery, and Infestation going down at 9.5 minutes. It's so late in the game. I mean, DRG, I think, was so anticipating Neeb just trying to force the issue. And I mean, he sees so many Stalkers, so of course he thinks that's going to happen. But look how inefficient Banelings are against this army. Unless you're getting your whole army surrounded on creep, it's just not looking good for the Zerg player when they're using this sort of Baneling style. And look at this. He's trying to just attack here with Ling Bane all over the place. These trades are horrendous. The units lost time, they're about 2-1. There's a 5th base up, equal economy. I mean, if the Protoss has equal economy and is trading that well, he's looking good, but DRG is not going to leave it at that. He's running in with Lings, but Stasis Traps are stalling the advance. Ling Bane, Ravager crashing in from all sides, but actually there's so many Stalkers. Okay, these guys doing a great fight on the ramp. He's surrounding the Ravagers on the north. That's a fantastic fight. Lings are overwhelming, killing the Archons, the Stalkers, getting overwhelmed in that mineral line. These Stalkers getting pushed back. This is such a close fight. It looks like Neeb might just barely have the numbers to hang on, and that did not find the economic damage that he was looking for, guys. Only 3 probes killed. Let's look at the units lost tab. Units lost was reasonably even, but Neeb has been ahead in economy for most of this game, and there is still no hive on the way. Warp Prism on the left could also cause problems. We've got all the queens getting pulled up there. If Neeb's not watching and loses the Prism, he's in trouble, but if he just warps in a few Zealots, he can hit this base. And he's got a great economy. +3 attackers on the way for him. He's also gone into Plasma Shields earlier in this game, realizing how big a part of his plan Archons will be versus Ravager Ling Bane. I mean, this harks back to 2016 BlizzCon. That's when people, this is what the meta was back then. It was adding shitloads of Archons into your army to get insane efficiency versus Ravager Baneling. That's literally, go back and watch games from 2016 BlizzCon when Neeb was arguably right around his peak of skill ever. He knows this meta well. He's like, oh yeah, I'll just keep adding upgrades, add Archons, I'll get more static defense. I mean, shield batteries didn't exist back then, but now his cannon battery is even better on the defense than just the cannons were back in the day, and it feels like he's getting some great efficiency. Now, on the other hand, the Hive is coming. The upgrades are not bad. 2-1-2 upgrades, so +1 range, +2 melee, +2 carapace for DRG. Excuse me, guys. I've been so good at microing that mute button all cast. But here we go. The Ravager Ling, he's going to pull back. Storm's landing on those units. Big Ling Bane run by, but uh-oh. That Stasis Trap could be huge here. And Archons, more than enough to deal with this. Very good defense. Oh, Storms! Storms! Another good Storm does land. He's still got one more Storm in there. It's going to try and keep him back. That Archon trying to morph there. I think this is only a much smaller army for Neeb. The Roach Ravager gets a decent fight against him, but as long as Neeb can fall back to the battery, he's looking good. The Oracles will come in as well to make DRG pay a little bit more tax for that. Units lost tab still looking like it's just a little more favorable for Neeb in these trades, and a little more favorable when you're up 8 workers. Turns out to be absolutely excellent. He's even going to take the top right base, try and secure that ramp with cannons, batteries. He's only got 4 High Templar right now, so I do want to see more High Templar peppered around. Maybe just keep one on this base. Maybe keep one up here with the cannon battery, so you've got some Storm to support there. He's going to keep sending Zealots around, and he's going to try and go back into that main. Very patient with the Warp Prism, and patient pays off in the long run. He's going to get these Zealots, and it's going to force the whole army of DRG back. Might not do direct damage, but it's going to open up opportunities. The Queen's going down. Some of the Zealots will fall here, of course, but Yeah, you've got no adrenal gland yet on these Zerglings. Not trading as well as they would have liked. The Banelings go down to the Archons there. Oracles come forwards. The Zealots do take out one of the spines. Great spine positioning there. Limited surface area, so we can't take too much. It looks like, bam, the Zealots actually won the fight in the main base. What the hell? You got to send some roaches in there as well, man. Zealots in a choke point do very well versus Zerglings. DRG does not have adrenal glands yet. He doesn't have an Ultra Cavern. He also doesn't have something like Vipers, which a few Blinding Clouds could ruin a Stalker Archon army, guys. Just a single Viper. 2 Blinding Clouds could be great, but the High Templar is such a big problem for him. Storm ravages just about everything in his arsenal. Ling's going for a counterattack, but Zealot Immortal Cannon defends very cleanly. The Ravagerling Bane trying to hang on. DRG's going to try and hold this push. Great Biles coming down, but good storms for Neeb, and Neeb has way more storms where that came from. Oh my god, DRG just getting wiped off the face of the map, and Neeb there in game 5, he just adds one little adjustment. And right at the point where in the previous maps he was like, I gotta kill you, I gotta kill you, I gotta kill you. He said, hey, let's add Storm. Let's make a shitload of High Templar, add a bit more static defense, and rather than feeling like I'm forced to kill you all game long, I'm just going to keep expanding, and I'm going to let you hit your expiry date, and you feel forced to attack me. And DRG realized, dude, I'm maxed on Ravager Bane. If I don't use this army soon, he's going to get better and better counters to it over time. He's going to have more Archons, more Storm. He's going to get carriers and stuff out. Like, I got to go now. I got to go do some damage with this army. So, you know, a DRG that was so confident and comfortable defending all series long, forced to do these giant attacks, and he really did not find anything good with them, right? He gets a few units here or there. It looks like it might be promising, but the stasis traps, the cannons, the batteries, the Psystorms, all adding up in a big way for Neeb. I mean, that was a huge mistake for Neeb that I didn't actually catch, guys. He lost all of his High Templar there without getting a Storm off. So he really effed up. He actually didn't get to use Storm at all in this defense. He made a huge mistake, and yet we see that the style just counters what DRG was doing. Great strategic play by Neeb, and he makes it through to the top 8 of the DreamHack Masters Valencia. It's so good to see the Bald Eagle back in action. GG, well played.